Okay, so here we are with another first for this channel, and this is my first Universal Monsters figure from Neca, and it is Count Dracula. What better way to start than with Count Dracula, my personal favorite of the Universal Monsters? Got a nice shot of him on the side there with that cool lighting like we saw a lot in the actual 1931 film. Can you believe Dracula's almost 100 years old? yeah, yeah, just another few years, and it's gonna see its centenary. How about that? The original Dracula movie came out in 1931 on Valentine's Day, February 14th. It was a love story, of course. But yeah, I got nice pictures there. There's a few different heads with this set. A lot of cool stuff. That's the actual movie poster there, just with a little bit of alteration to let us know that this is the ultimate Count Dracula figure. And let's go ahead and open it up. Very handsome box. And there's a nice photograph of the figure in the famous pose at the top of the staircase. I am Dracula. And there's the figure itself. Now, everybody knows how much I love superheroes. Everybody knows my favorite character is Batman, but I like Universal Monsters almost as much as I like superheroes. And if Batman's my favorite character, then Count Dracula is my second favorite. I do love this guy. I don't know when I would have first seen Dracula, the character. I don't know when I would have first encountered him. But I do remember the Groovy Ghoulies cartoon show. I do remember at the time when I was a little kid, there was a few Dracula movies that came out in the late 70s. And I do remember seeing on HBO at least little bits of the Frank Langella version and the Love at First Bite with George Hamilton. And when I got into elementary school, I'll talk more about this stuff in the later videos. So I've got a few more coming up because tomorrow I'm planning on opening this glow-in-the-dark Frankenstein. And then Wednesday, planning on opening glow-in-the-dark Wolfman. And then finally on Thursday, I'll have glow-in-the-dark Dracula. So we'll come back around to Dracula. And I'm probably going to pick up the Mummy sometime soon, but I don't have the Mummy yet. So, but yeah, when I got into elementary school, that was when I discovered those little orange monster books, Crestwood House ones. You know the ones. If you were somebody like my age, you'll remember those Crestwood House monster books from the library. Here he is out of the package. There's no bio or anything on this, just, you know, some nice photos of the figure, letting you know what you're getting into. And I'll probably wind up keeping this box because it is a sharp-looking box, and it'll be a good way to store all of these many accessories he comes with. So, he's got rubber bands holding him in the package. You know, I don't like those. So, here is a bat, which is a bit more realistic than the bat that was actually in the movie. It was 1931. What are you going to do? And then all these rubber tabs. Multiple double rubber tabs. Oh, I hate the double rubber tabs. Double rubber tabs are the worst. They're even worse than regular rubber tabs, which are already horrible. They make me miss twist ties. And I hated twist ties, too. There we go. I think we got about all of those. I think that's all of them. All right. You know, I forgot something that I was going to also have for this. So I'm going to go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Don't worry, I'm just going across the room. You can still hear me. I'm still here. Don't touch that dial, as they used to say. Let's see. Where are you? I know it was just right here. There he is. All right, so I figured it would be fun to compare with another NECA figure who's wearing a similar outfit, and that's Mandrake. So we'll go ahead and compare Dracula to Mandrake once we get him all out of the package. And this part just popped right out, and there's nothing else holding these parts in, so they all kind of rattled out. But we have a candlestick with a very cool design to it. It's got almost like a dragon sculpted onto it. Of course, the name Dracula means dragon, and Dracula means son of the dragon. It also means devil. Ooh. So here is a translucent stick. That's for your bat. Speaking of which, we have a little stand for the bat, so we'll assemble that in a couple of minutes. We have a couple of goblets for which to put our vine. And then we have a bottle of vine. This is very old wine. I hope you enjoy. Set that aside. We got a little silver tray, and it's kind of a translucent plastic. It looks like it's painted silver, but I can see the light seeping through it when I hold it up like that. And then we got a few hands. So we got 3 hands over here, and there's 2 right hands and 1 left hand. I could have sworn there would have been another one, but I don't see it right now. So okay, well, so here's one of our right hands. That's got a bit of a grip to it. Looks like it's made to hold the tray, probably. And then a little more of an open hand. He's got to have a lot of cool hands because he's Bela Lugosi, and he's gonna be doing a lot of like hand gestures and things like that. You must be double jointed, and you must be Hungarian, just like that. So there we go, and we can see the left hand has the ring with the Dracula crest on it, and this ring would later find its way onto the hand of Christopher Lee when he played Dracula. Somebody managed to scrounge up Bela's Dracula ring and give it to him. So that's a nice little piece of the legacy there, isn't it? So we got a couple of likenesses of Bela. You know, that reminds me, there probably is one other thing I could look for on that box. We're going to go back to it. And yep, there it is. Sure enough, we got the Lugosi trademark at the bottom there. That means that this is an official licensed product that Bela Lugosi's estate will be getting some of this money. His son, Bela Jr., is a big-time entertainment lawyer. So he made sure he got some of that scratch. Speaking of scratch, there's a little bit of a black spot at the bottom of this particular head. So hopefully that's just something I can scrape off. And if not, I'll just have to mix up some paint to try to. Yeah, it's gonna scrape off. There we go. Good. Just a little piece of black random smudge or something that got stuck on there. I mostly got it off. There's like a little piece that's still kind of stuck there. It's like right in the seam of the plastic, I think. But so we got this this one Bela head that's kind of a neutral expression, and then this other Bela head that's kind of angry and snarling. And this you could also use for the head that's bending down to bite his victim. There it is in profile. Excellent likeness of Bela Lugosi. And then finally, the figure itself. And he is wearing what we think of these days as the traditional Dracula costume of a white tie and tails with the medallion around the neck. And of course, this outfit was originated in the stage play of Dracula, in which, rather than the kind of repellent character that uh, Bram Stoker wrote about, this was a guy who was invited into people's drawing rooms and things like that. So he had to be a little more presentable. Plus, since a lot of the special effects that they used in the stage play came from magic tricks like a stage magician would do, it made sense to kind of have him in the uniform of a stage magician, which included this cape, which is an opera cloak with a high collar, and was used to hide Dracula during certain scenes where he would seem to disappear or transform into a mist or a bat or whatever. And this is a nice looking cape. It does not have any color liner, unfortunately. It is just one piece of fabric. I do wish it had some kind of liner to it. Now, it is a good looking Dracula, isn't it? Yeah. I found out that I can do this where I press the button and it'll put people's comments on the screen. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just like I just put StreamYard in and just set it and go, and hadn't really been paying too much attention to that, but I just figured out I can do that. I can put people's comments up on the screen like that. But it is a good looking Dracula, isn't it? So this collar piece is a piece of molded plastic, and it kind of clips around his neck like a superpowers figure. So that's kind of cool. And so there we go, the full effect with Count Dracula with his cape, and boy, does that look beautiful. Okay, I do wish it had a colored liner, though. That would have been nice, but this way we do get a little bit more of a realistic flow to it, don't we? So I guess I can't complain too much. And we can kind of wrap the whole cape around him. Sometimes he had his cape over his shoulders like that in the movie. Pretty cool. So, but yeah, it's a pretty simple cape, but it's effective. And it does seem to be made out of kind of a spandexy material, so it's got a little bit of a stretch to it, and you won't have to worry about it fraying at all, so that's a good thing. So let's go over his articulation. I'm going to take the cape off again so I can do that. So Dracula can look up about that high. He can look down about like that. This collar is rubbery, so it does give you a little bit of give, but it does hinder the articulation somewhat, but that's to be expected. Arms rotate all the way around at the shoulder. Arms can move up about this far. Looks like it's a little stiff, so I don't want to force it. That will look good with the cape. We can kind of drape the cape over his arms. This would probably be good for like gripping the cape too, this particular hand. So let's go ahead and lay the cape over his arms. Ah, that looks cool, doesn't it? So he can kind of tilt his head quizzically from side to side. You can move his head around any which way you want to. I'm going to take the cape back off again, so we can look at his articulation. He has a single joint at the elbow, bends up about that far. Really good for a single joint articulation. Arm rotates all the way around. You can see him going slow with this because he is a little stiff, being a brand new action figure. I don't want to risk doing too much with him. Wrist articulation, wrists rotate all the way around. It does have a hinge in it, so we can get various poses with the hands. And like I said, it's Bela Lugosi as Dracula, so you're going to want to get lots of cool poses with the hands, because dude knew how to use his hands. Just a little bit of a... He's got like some interesting paint details to him. Like it's all black, but some of it's like a little more like true black, and some of it's a little more charcoal, just to help bring out some of the details in the suit. So, but yeah, you can get him into lots of cool poses like that, like we like Dracula. Let's go ahead and see if we can pop the... Pops out at the neck, because you can see the other necks are attached to this. So let's try some of the other heads just to see how it looks. And like I said, this is kind of a rubbery collar, so it should just kind of squeeze right in there. and you want to make sure that you get it onto the ball joint. Van Helsing, you are too late. My blood now flows through her veins. She will live for the centuries to come, as I have lived. You know, like I did a watch along of this on my channel, so if you're interested in hearing me talk more about Dracula and how much I love this movie, you can go back and watch that watch along. That's pretty cool. Uh, I had a lot of fun making it. He's got a little bit of a waist articulation, so he can move at the waist. You can kind of move him around like almost like a McFarlane figure, but not quite as much. Turn him at the waist, do whatever you want to with that. He's got like a rubber trunk piece, like NECA tends to give their figures, and McFarlane also. He can kick up about that far. You're not really going to want to put Dracula into a lot of kung fu poses, but it's nice to know that you can if you want to. So here he is about to take out Johnny Lawrence at the karate tournament with the crane kick. I don't know why anybody would want to put Dracula into a crane kick pose, but it's nice to know that if you want to put him into a crane kick pose, you can. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee. That's about as far down as it goes, but it does rotate around all the way. There we go. You can see that like they put a little bit of glossy paint down the stripe down his pants, so that's nice. Ankle articulation, he can move his ankle down about that far, move it up about that far. Not the best range of motion because of the pants leg, but again, like how much articulation do you really need for Dracula? He's got enough. He's got a goodly amount of articulation. These are rocker ankles, so you can get him into some good Dracula-esque poses. But like I said, you're not exactly going to have him doing like acrobatic moves or kung fu poses or anything like that. This is a good articulated Dracula figure for what it needs to be. So I'm going to put the smirky head back in there because that's the one I like best of these. I feel like that's the one that I'm going to keep displayed on there. I like that one. Dracula is large and in charge and composed and in control, and this is how I like to think of the character. So these stupid humans. Yeah. You think to pit your brains against me who has commanded armies who's lived for centuries. He didn't actually have that line in the movie, but it would have been cool if he did. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at some of these accessories here, and I'm going to take this gripping hand because I think this is probably the one that's going to best hold the candle. Although it might be even a little bit of a tight grip for that. So let's see if I can get this candle into his hand. How am I supposed to do this? Okay. It's a really cool design for a candle, but I see how it is. So this little loop here where the dragon's spine is, you can kind of hook that around these two fingers, and I believe that's how he's supposed to hold it. So there he is holding the candle, which he famously, holds a candle, like I said, at the top of the staircase when he meets Renfield in the movie. Now, in the book, he had a silver lantern. Yep, that's how it shows him holding it on the... But he had a silver lantern when he met Jonathan Harker, but of course they changed a lot of things for the movie versus how they did it in the book. So he meets Renfield at the top of the staircase with his candle. I am Dracula, like that. He does look really cool holding that candlestick, doesn't he? Maybe I'll display him like that on my shelf. Oh man, that's such a good likeness. It looks just like him. I'm so happy with that. Ah, he's so cool. All right, so moving on to some of these other accessories. I'm just gonna pop the whole thing out there because I think that to hold the bottle of wine, we probably want to have this more open hand, and I think that should fit in there just fine. So he can hold the wine bottle just fine like that. And then we have this goblet. So he can hold the goblet in the other hand. That should squeeze into this hand. This is very old wine. I already said that, but whatever. I'll say it again. He pours some of the wine for Renfield, but he's not gonna have any. You know why he's not gonna have any? Come on, you guys know the line. I never drink wine. What do you drink then? But yeah, you can get like a nice wine pouring hose out of it. And these goblets are really cool. They're not just hollowed out goblets. They do actually have some substance sculpted in there, and it is a wine colored glossy paint, so fits in there just fine. And like I said, I think that the serving tray should probably fit into that gripping hand pretty well. But let's see if we can get it into this hand. You can kind of stick it in between the fingers and the thumb, and he can hold this serving tray. So that way we can, if you want to have him with the wine and the goblets, got it all balanced on there. Very nice. Yeah, like I think I'd mentioned this in the Dracula watch along that I did, but one of the elements I really like about the novel is the idea that Dracula doesn't actually have any servants, so he has to do all the work himself. And I keep imagining Dracula like at the sink, like a scullery maid, like an apron on, having to clean all the dishes and everything. MHD says, I'm waiting for my Rob Zombie's Monsters figures. Yeah, those look really cool. I might go ahead and pick those up. I know I'd seen Herman at Target, and I'm kind of debating whether I want to get those or not. I definitely would like to have them, but I've just got so much other stuff that I'm buying. But yeah, those were pretty neat. I hope they do the TV show version too. I think that would be really cool to see. All right, so I'm going to set that serving tray aside, and I dropped the wine bottle, which I was really hoping I wouldn't do. But there's those accessories. So and then the last accessory we have to go over is the bat. Is it just an accessory, or is it actually Dracula in his bat form? Well, you could use it as either or, I suppose. It could be like one of his pet bats, or it could be Dracula himself in his bat form. So there we go. There's the bat on the stand, and on the pole that the stand goes into. And that's what it looks like when it's all put together with the stand and the little clear pole and the bat on top of it. And let's go ahead and see Dracula next to the bat. Probably, commanding the bat to go out and do some kind of nefarious scheme. Or we can have Dracula, poof, turn into the bat, and then he flies off to work some kind of evil somewhere else. All right. So, Friday, I'm planning on coming back to Dracula. Not Friday, Thursday. I think was what I said. Tuesday is Frankenstein. Wednesday is Wolfman. Thursday will be Dracula once again. So there we go. We can see him next to the glow-in-the-dark version. A lot of differences there, and he doesn't come with as many of these bells and whistles like the Ultimate version comes with. So that's why I'm glad I bought both. I made sure that I opened up Ultimate Dracula first, because I know when I get to the glow-in-the-dark Dracula, I'm going to want to compare a lot of things with these characters. But they did an excellent job with this figure. I hadn't really... I just kind of got into these, and I've been a big Universal Monsters fan for a while, but actually the thing that was holding me back from really starting to collect these was Dracula's my favorite, and they didn't have Dracula yet. So, to me, it just wouldn't be a complete collection without this guy. So, and like, Universal Monsters is one of those things where like everybody has their own favorite. Like some people like Frankenstein best, and I do think he's probably the most iconic of these characters. He's certainly the most recognizable. Some people are big fans of the Wolfman, which is great character. I love the Wolfman, but Dracula was always the one that appealed the most to me. So, and like I said, the Bela Lugosi estate, Bela Jr. He's been running that, and a lot of the times Dracula is the late comer to whatever Universal line we have, because I guess they take a little bit more negotiating for that than they do for some of these other characters. But we'll talk more about that when we get to the glow in the dark figures, because I've got some stuff to discuss with that. But I did have Mandrake over here, so I wanted to kind of compare with Mandrake. And Mandrake, of course, has a much shorter cape than Count Dracula. And we can see that Dracula stands a little bit taller than Mandrake. But they both have kind of that white tie and tails thing going on. So I thought it would be fun to compare, NECA's different approaches to a guy in pretty much the same outfit. Now, also Mandrake has a little bit more of an exaggerated superheroic build, which Bela has a more realistic, naturalistic sort of build. So, but you can see the broad shoulders and everything on Mandrake, but Bela is a little taller. So there's that. And he's also got the you must be double jointed and you must be Hungarian thing going on. So maybe Mandrake's part Hungarian, who knows? So it would be hard for me to decide who's my favorite. Well, they're all great characters, aren't they? It's like you can't really go wrong. Like, some people really like The Mummy. Some people really like Creature from Black Lagoon. Some people really like Bride of Frankenstein. Which, can't blame them for that. So, and then there's others that you can get into where it's like, the Silent Earth, the mutant, is he considered a universal monster? A lot of people consider him to be one. You got things like the mole people and stuff like that. So, and all of those things have their fans. But for me, Dracula was the guy that really got me into all this stuff. So he was like my gateway drug into the Universal monsters. I will be talking more about those in the upcoming episodes. The next 3 episodes, we're going to get into me talking about all these monsters and the history, my personal history with the monsters. So, but yeah, this is a really cool figure. I'm really happy to have it. Really excited to get to the rest of these. So tune back in tomorrow to see Frankenstein. Make sure you hit the subscription, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this particular figure and what you think about Dracula in general. And leave a comment. Let me know who's your favorite of the Universal monsters, because they're all really cool, aren't they? All right, that's pretty much it for this episode. We will talk to you next time. Bye.